Today in the crypto space, we see the market taking a dip, Bitcoin down approximately 5%, Ethereum down approximately 7%, and the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins deep in the red, retracing to the downside. The question is, should we be buying the dips? In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. However, guys, I want to focus on Bitcoin. I want to talk about Bitcoin to see exactly what could we expect in this up and coming market, because at the end of the day, Bitcoin is the leading indicator. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel and click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join that Discord. The Discord's where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. All right, guys, we see Bitcoin, the market in general. Even, based off of Bitcoin, we're seeing the market come down. We see Solana down. We see Ethereum coming down. We see a lot of the altcoins coming down, AVAX, Doge, Polkadot, and you name it, it's down. Approximately, I would say between 5 to 10%, maybe a little bit more across the board, depending, but the average is about 5 to 10%. Now, what could we expect in the immediate short term? I'm expecting a bit more confirmations, although I do feel that bearish bias, like I've always said. Bitcoin hitting that level that we've talked about many times, definitely got that rejection and came down pretty hard. And ultimately, what I'm expecting is a distribution. I'm expecting that ultimately, if we get back to those range highs once again, we'll see the market fall up and down. But the question is, will altcoins outperform Bitcoin upon a recovery? So we're going to have to pay attention now, because obviously the market is a little bit fearful. There's a bit of uncertainty happening right now in this market, and let's see what happens, because if we see some of the money flow right back into altcoins, and altcoins do very well in the next couple of days, we could definitely see an altcoin season. Bitcoin's still within range. However, we need to see Bitcoin show a bit of strength in the short term, and then give a bit of confidence to the altcoin market, because we could be expecting a bounce. And if bounce has happened, we could definitely see the altcoins bounce even harder than Bitcoin. That would be our first indication that we're in altcoin season, and definitely seeing the Bitcoin dominance fall is another one. But I'm expecting that, given right now we see the altcoins falling a bit harder than Bitcoin, we could expect a Bitcoin dominance run. We could see the Bitcoin dominance continue going higher, as although Bitcoin is falling, it is not falling at the same rate as these altcoins. And it's very normal, because altcoins are very speculative. They're lower cap. There's a little bit more risk associated to the altcoins. And of course, if people are looking to de-risk, they're looking to basically exit their altcoin positions sooner than later. So this is something that we got to consider. So there's definitely a 10%, 5 to 10% fire sale happening throughout the market, some a bit more. Look at EGLD. We have a few others coming down. Phantom 12%, Theta Network 15%, and the list goes on. So there are a couple deeper retracements throughout the market. But again, guys, I really do feel like ultimately the beginning of a potential correction is just beginning. I don't think this is the biggest correction ever. If you think about it, we've been running fairly hard in the last little while, which means that the retracement could be, somewhat deeper. Even if it's a 65% of the run up, that would be absolutely normal. A 65% retracement means a retracement right back down to the golden pocket retracement level. So ultimately, that's what I'm expecting. It doesn't mean that's going to happen in one red candle. It just means that we're beginning our descent, and this is our first impulsive move to the downside. And this is when we should start thinking very critically for the next run up. When we get the next pop, it could be that confirmation high that we need in order to take a bit more profits off the top to protect our gains, because I know a lot of us are in some serious gains at the moment. However, guys, if we let the gains fall with the price, obviously you're going to be giving back your gains to the market. Okay, so obviously we're going to take a look at Bitcoin today. Let's begin by taking a look at the charts. Let's see what Bitcoin's up to. You can see that it got rejected perfectly at about 45,800, give or take. You can see that was really good. I expected a failed breakout, although the measured move out of this ascending triangle should have caused the price to hit about 49k. The reality is there wasn't enough bullishness for that to happen, and this is why I do not like breakout trading. Let's look at this in a little bit more detail. You know, breakout trading has its benefits, obviously, because you can get in right at the point of a breakout where you get a lot of volume, you get a lot of market participation, and ultimately you don't have to hold your position for a long period of time, you know, basically incurring those fees. But at the end of the day, look what could happen, right? We get up to a certain level of horizontal resistance, we get rejected, and we come right back down with a bearish engulfing candle. And you can see that this candle right now is still not closed, so we do have some time here on the daily to close this candle. We got a nice wick to the upside, we got bought up real quick here at the bottom, and you can see we do have this bit of a volume gap here to deal with, and this is probably why we got that bounce. But the reality is there's nothing really too concerning here. The reality is we see Bitcoin still within range. Even though we came down to the bottom of the range, we see that ultimately we are still within a sideways structure all of a sudden. Now let's kind of rearrange this, because this is no longer valid. Right, we could definitely break out and continue to the upside, very similar, hitting that price target about 49k. But now that we have a higher high, you can see that this is starting to look like an ascending channel of some sort. Now, if you want to include the wicks, it starts to look a little different. It starts to look like a bit of a broadening wedge, right? So I like to include wicks into my price action, because the reality is that's where market participation, you know, had some emotion, whether it be algorithmic buy orders on exchanges, whatever the case is, there is a price action that does come down there. And ultimately, if it does come down there again, it wouldn't be a bad buy the dip opportunity with a very nice tight stop loss right below these lows, because it could be still a bullish flag. It's still a bull flag. Guys, we're still within structure. So I know that the altcoins right now look very scary, and that's the reality, that some of them are down 10% plus. However, guys, ultimately, Bitcoin as a leading indicator showing us that exactly we could be in the beginning of a bigger distribution, causing the price to come right back to range highs once again, even make another higher high and get rejected real quick. People taking profits, offloading on the market, and of course, a lot of individuals buying the tops are going to be exit liquidity, and then all of a sudden we start coming down to lower levels once again, and we do a choppy dance right in between this whole level, as the momentum on the daily on Bitcoin basically goes into the chop zone on the 50% mark on the RSI, and you can see that we're heading towards that zone. Every time we reach the chop zone, give or take, you know, between, I would say, 60 and about 40, right into this level, maybe even less, about 56 to about 44, right around this zone. You can see that this is the chop zone. You'll see price action pretty much go sideways when that gets there, and you can see that we're entering that zone as we speak. And this is the daily, so it could go sideways for the next little while, and then finally get oversold and finally get that price down to about 30k. That's what I'm looking for, 33, 30k, and then if it breaks below that, 25k is the target, the bearish, absolute bearish price target. So before we look at that, we'll zoom out in a second. Let's give a bit of you know, a look to the MACD. We got the EMAs facing down, red histogram bars to the downside, very indicative of a potential dip or continuation to the downside. Not very good, not very healthy looking ultimately, but again, Bitcoin holding up here is very healthy, going sideways. Let's go look at the 4-hour, and then we'll zoom out. We'll start looking at big picture stuff, because ultimately, again, nothing is really changed here. We just came back to range lows. You see, we had a bit of a trend here. We have the momentum coming right down. There's a bit of a mean reversion happening where the purple and the yellow are way too far away from each other. In the immediate short term, we could expect that the purple get a nice bounce from this zone and meet the yellow halfway and then hesitate. Okay, so this is the sign, like like what happened here in the past, when the price or when the momentum comes down way too quick, it starts to hesitate, whether it be here, a little bit of a bounce higher. One way or another, the momentum needs to catch up to the yellow line, and the yellow line is you know, an average, a moving average. So either the purple is going to hesitate here or get a bounce and then they meet in the middle or something like that. Regardless, I'm expecting a bit of a reaction here from the price, you know, going sideways or at least getting a bounce. I have a feeling we're going to get a short-term bounce to the upside, and then we'll kind of resolve ourselves in a sideways consolidation based on the daily, because right now even the 4 hours not oversold. We're trekking to the downside. Yes, we got higher lows here on the momentum already, so there's nothing really that concerning. We see that the MACD on the 4-hour EMA is facing down, right histogram bars to the downside. But if you kind of look at what's been happening in the last little while, a lot of choppy price action, and that for me is not enough to suggest that we're getting a big move very soon on Bitcoin. So I ultimately feel that we should be very patient here, very patient. The way we were, nothing has changed. Look at all this consolidation. We were actually here before many times, and ultimately we showed patience then, and we should show patience now. And the altcoins are the only thing that are causing a bit of fear in the market, but this is expected, guys. This is what we talked about many times. So the daily looking for a full reset of oversold conditions could happen in the next few days, but I believe that we need to show a bit more patience here as we are in the chop zone. Let's take a look at the weekly. The weekly is looking okay, still looking okay at overbought conditions. No EMA crossing the MACD just yet. We're still, EMAs are facing up with green histogram bars to the upside, so it could be that we get more of a distribution on larger time frames, guys. Nothing has changed. Ultimately, it's not that I'm super bullish on Bitcoin, because I believe that Bitcoin eventually is going to roll over here around this level. However, you can see that if Bitcoin continues to get into that distribution where we hang out in this area, altcoins will look at this as very an opportunity for basically to run. Bitcoin is showing very boring price action, allows traders to look for volatile opportunities, and of course the altcoins give you that volatility to trade. Right now Bitcoin going sideways is not going to give us the volatility, and money is going to flow, capital will flow from Bitcoin to altcoins, and that may give us an altcoin season. So we're going to have to kind of pay attention to this in the immediate short term. I'll give you updates live tonight at 7:30. Feel free to join me live. Of course, if you have any requests at all, feel free to join the live stream tonight at 7:30 Eastern, and I'll put your requests in top priority. Feel free to join that Discord, guys. The Discord is a great community, lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.